Hello and welcome to In the Library with
Tara
and Michelle. Sorry.
and Martin. Today this is the last podcast of the year.
Oh.
2025.
I feel really good about that.
They'll hear us again in 2026.
Yes, they will, whether they like it or not.
I don't like the people who the last couple weeks have been saying, see you next year as they leave the library.
That's true.
No, thank you.
That's true.
It went by so fast.
So today we are using this final podcast of 2025 to talk about
Fairytales. Specifically, Disney movies and then the stories that they are based off of, because I personally love knowing all the differences, because like every single one of the Disney stories is like, it's so sweet and it's happily ever after, and literally every single one of the original stories, like, usually they end horribly. If nothing else, it definitely ends horribly for a couple of the characters.
It's interesting how they change through the storytelling depending on who's doing the storytelling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there is that whole term for Disneyfication where they take off all the rough edges of existing stories.
Yes. Yeah.
And, like, I get it, because the original stories were written to, like, make a point and to, like, have you learn from them.
Teach a moral story, yeah.
And, yeah, and we were definitely a lot harsher with our kids back in the day, and, I read Pinocchio.
So, since you read Pinocchio, why don't you tell us what Pinocchio is about?
Oh, my gosh, this whole episode could be about Pinocchio, man. I have so many feelings. If you don't know Pinocchio, it's about a little wooden boy who comes alive and he wants to turn into a real boy. So he gets his conscience with the Jiminy Cricket, and he has to do good stuff and learn, and then he becomes a good boy at the end. Yay! That's not exactly what the book is about.
See, I never knew this until you talked about it.
So I originally wanted to do this book because this book came in delivery for someone once, and I glanced through it, and the pictures, the illustrations are brilliant, but they're very, very dark. So basically, it's very intense. Like, this was written in, I want to say, 1888? Something like that.
Really? I didn't know it was that old.
It is very old. It was actually originally written as shorts that were, like, in the paper. And so it was done section by section. And the original idea was for Pinocchio to die at the end, but they changed it because people really liked it and they wanted to keep going. So then he turned it into a book and collected them. But basically, in the movie, it's like he's more gullible, and it's more like other people are pushing him into these bad decisions. Whereas the book, he starts off super naughty, and he just makes one bad decision after another, no matter how many times people try to.
Him and me both.
So Jiminy Cricket is in this story, and he kills him in, like, the second chapter. He doesn't like what he's saying, so he threw his shoe at him and killed him.
So Pinocchio kills Jiminy Cricket.
Who's just the talking cricket in this, but yeah. But he does come back at some point, so I'm not sure
So there's your magic.
Yes, because...
I think a walking, talking wooden boy is a little magical.
Just a tad.
Just a tad.
A tad.
So the interesting thing was there was no fairy that, like, made him come alive because Geppetto made a wish. In this story, like, he was talking even when he was just, like, a wooden log. And then, yeah, and then he slowly was turned into a puppet. And, yeah, so he was already alive.
It sounds like a creepy story.
It is so creepy. So he keeps making one bad decision after another. It takes forever for him to learn from his mistakes. They basically took all the characters that were in here. So the characters are all in here, but Disney completely changed who they are in the story. And this kid, everybody just wants to kill him. He has some gold, so these assassins the cat and the fox from the story. So they come after him and they hang him from a tree. Yeah, because they want the gold to come out of his mouth. So he survives that.
What gold?
So...
See, I guess I'd have to read the whole book to understand.
So there's so much. Do you remember the whole marionette bit? Like, he goes to see the show and, like, they put him in the show?
I can't tell you the last time I saw Pinocchio. Probably when I was a kid, because I didn't like it, so I didn't show it to my kid.
That was one of the first things that happens. Like, he was supposed to go to school, and, like, he decides to go see a marionette show instead. And the guy was going to use him as firewood to make his dinner, but then he felt bad for Pinocchio, and before he left, he gave him 5 gold coins to give to his dad. Instead of going to give it to his dad, the cat and the fox tell him, you can go plant it in the ground in this certain area, and like it'll grow, and you'll get like 2,000 gold coins. So he goes with them. They try to hang him to get the gold coins.
Nice friends.
Yes, they do get them in the end. They come back, and he doesn't realize the assassins are them, and so he does plant them. And then he goes to the court and is like, hey, these people stole my gold. And the people were like, cool, we're going to send you to jail for being gullible. So he goes to jail for 4 months.
Comes out with a tattoo.
Really muscular.
He runs out. His dad is swallowed by a shark, not a whale. He's in there for about 2 years before Pinocchio finds him and helps him get free.
There's a reason I didn't read this book when my kid was little.
The darkest part of the movie that always confused and kind of creeped me out was when they turn into donkeys. And that does happen in, because it's like...
Disney has a lot of donkeys.
They do.
They really do.
Yeah.
Even in my story, there's donkeys.
There is.
Yeah.
But this one is in the story. It's like when the kids are being bad and like they get donkey fever and they turn into donkeys.
They go,
And no one can understand them. That part is so creepy in the movie. I do recommend just watching that scene if you don't want to watch the whole thing. So he gets sold and like he's in a circus and the guy's like really mean and like hits him and then he goes lame. So he's sold to somebody who wants to kill him to like use his skin for a drum. So the guy ties him up with a rock and throws him into the river to drown.
This is a terrible children's story.
But then his fairy, who's like his mom, comes and she sends a bunch of fish to eat his flesh.
That's pleasant.
And turns him back into a wooden boy because they eat the donkey part and then he's a wooden boy again. So he moves.
I can see where this might give kids nightmares.
Oh my gosh. It is so meant to like keep kids like straight, make them make good choices. But it's drastic. Every little thing he does, even like the little mistakes that kids are of course going to make, is like met so harshly. Like everything is punished so meanly and everyone's just like, well, you made a mistake, so suffer the consequences.
That's terrible.
But he turns into a real boy in the end.
That's still terrible.
I don't know if I'd read it again. But I do, there's so many movies made about Pinocchio. Mm-hmm. Like Disney's done 2. I'm in the middle of watching the remake they did in like 22. And so far it's cute. I think in the same year, 22, there was another Pinocchio made. It was Guillermo del Toro's. Mm-hmm. And I watched it at the time, and I actually really liked that version. Again, it's completely own thing. They take the general story, and they turn their own thing into it. It's like his, the father's name. Geppetto. His son died in World War I from a bombing, and so he makes Pinocchio. And then it's all about...
And the original book is obviously based before World War I, Yeah,
there's like, it's all about like fascism and like, again, people trying to... Actually, Pinocchio dies a couple times in that story, but he's immortal, so he comes back. But that one's actually an interesting story for them making it like about history and...
Okay.
The time of then.
Did you ever see The Adventures of Pinocchio, the movie based on it? Starring Jonathan Taylor Thomas.
No.
He had the best laugh. When this is over, look up Jonathan Taylor Thomas as Pinocchio laughing. It's gold.
Look up his laughing, look up the donkeys.
Yeah, you could fall down a really bad rabbit hole with all that. Yeah.
Yeah. This was never like my favorite story growing up, and this kind of reminds me of that.
There's good reason for that.
But all of a sudden I like the Disney movie a whole lot more.
I don't know. I had no idea, and I'm really kind of disturbed by it all.
I don't think I'd read it to my child.
Yeah, no.
Maybe give it to them in high school and be like, here.
And even then, there's some pretty serious stuff going on there.
That's true.
So yeah.
So let's turn from Pinocchio to what did you bring, Michelle?
Okay, I went totally off the rails, and I took some educational, how shall I say, preferences here. So this is actually a book that I shared in my classroom. So the book Holes by Louis Sacher. I used to read it with my middle schoolers, and I did tons of teaching on it. And when we talked about fairy tales, I was like, and I had this book sitting in a box in my truck when you and I talked about it because I was going to donate it.
Oh.
And then when we started talking, I was like, let me think of some Disney stuff. And of course, I never do what I'm supposed to do, which is probably why I'm not a teacher in the classroom anymore. But so I had the book and I was like, you know what? I'm going to watch that movie. So I rewatched the movie. So it may not be a classic. Okay, so it's not a classic fairy tale. However, I did find evidence that it's considered some of it was based on Jewish folklore, which is just kind of fascinating. But it's a story about a kid who winds up going to a camp, not a good camp, it's a bad camp, because he was accused of stealing shoes. And he says it was all based on a curse from his family from years and years and years ago.
Oh, that's true. There's the magic.
Yeah. So there is magic in there. So not a ton. Just I think it's really well done. I think between the movie and the book, they're both well done. They teach lessons about friendship, perseverance, cruelty. And there's racism in there too. And that's why when we were talking about books being banned, some people wanted this book banned because of the elements of racism and bullying. And here's the fact, you really need to talk about those things so they stop happening, right? So I never had a parent complain about this, which was nice. But if you think about this story, Madame Zeroni, who's in it, she is kind of like the fairy godmother.
She is.
Because she puts a curse on this guy's great-great-grandfather. And one of the funny things about this story is the main character's name is Stanley Yelnats. And Yelnats is Stanley spelled backwards. I just always found that funny. So yeah, I actually had to look up the whole definition of a fairy tale, and it said, magical story originating in folklore, poor, brave, and resourceful hero or heroine goes through testing adventure to eventual good fortune. Yes, that is actually what this story is about. And good versus evil, because there's a lot of evil in there.
I love how much effort you put into proving that this
is what I do. This is what I do. My dad told me I should have been a lawyer. He told me that many years ago because I can argue anything. I can make anything fit into a hole. Yeah.
I kind of see you and Adrian go at it.
Do you want to debate whether or not Ninja Turtles are a fairy tale? I could do this.
No, I'm cool with that. I did want to mention that this book did win the National Book Award and the Newbery Award, which to me, it says volumes about the book itself. And one of the reasons why the book and the movie, which was done by Disney, so I stuck with that whole theme. I did stick with the Disney theme, was that the author of the book also wrote the screenplay, which is one of the reasons why it's so well liked by people who like the book and also like the movie. And one small aside. Okay, it's a side quest. Okay, one of the actors in the movie is Henry Winkler, who I grew up with as the Fonz. Okay, what a lot of people don't know about Henry Winkler is that he is an author of these books called Hank Zipser, and they're based on him as a child growing up who used to get in trouble all the time because he couldn't read. He didn't know he had a learning disability until his 30s. And he still, to this day, really can't read or write. So the books that are written, he has a co-writer. And she does most of the writing, and he tells the stories kind of things. And I just love that because him being in the story and in the movie just kind of helps with all of the theories of, what we're trying to teach people, because it's always supposed to be a good moral lesson, And I just went into that whole, I'm like, yes, I used to love teaching his books in the classroom too. See, lots of rabbit holes. But yeah, so it's just about perseverance, and I do love this story. I forgot how much I love this story until you mentioned the podcast, and I was like, what can I do that doesn't really fit, but still fits? So yeah.
Now, I love the movie. I've never read the book. And I don't remember racism being that prevalent in the movie. So is it more in the book?
When kissing Kate Barlow.
Oh, that bit. I don't know why I was focusing on the kids at the camp.
Well,
you're absolutely right.
Right. So kissing Kate Barlow. Yeah, how she was a teacher and
That's that whole storyline.
I know, and it teaches a lot of really good lessons. And I always had kids who love this book. So if you have a kid who's not wanting to read or whatever, read this book with them, because this could be good for like anywhere from 4th to 8th grade. I just think it teaches a whole lot of lessons. And that's what I think about when I think about a fairy tale, that you have to learn some kind of lesson in the end.
Yeah.
Would you recommend this book to someone who maybe suffers from trypophobia, the fear of holes?
Absolutely. And especially in the movie when he drives the truck into a hole.
I don't want to
I've done that a couple
Grandpa.
I've done that a couple times.
So what did you read?
Well, for this, I prepared 1836 Hans Christian Andersen tale, The Little Mermaid, which I believe, based on your definitions there that you were arguing, constitutes a mermaid, or constitutes a fairy tale.
I think so.
There's magic. There's
Yeah.
a down...
Somebody who's poor, brave, resourceful, goes through a testing adventure.
Not poor, because, I mean, she's the daughter of the Sea King.
Okay.
But resourceful, I guess. She's seeking something she doesn't have. Although, we're talking about the book versus the film.
Okay.
In the film, she wants that Eric. Right?
Yeah.
In the
Silly girl.
In the book, she needs to marry a human to get a soul. Because mermaids don't have souls.
So if she got married, she would turn into a human? Or she would just be
she would
granted
get a soul.
So she'd still be a mermaid.
She would still be a mermaid, yeah.
Okay.
So one big difference. In the movie, everybody has names. Ariel, Ursula, Triton, Eric, right? In the book, they're just their roles. He's the Sea King. She's the mermaid. That's the Sea Witch. That's the prince. Like, they're just players. You literally... he doesn't set anybody in stone. It's just they're playing their part in this sort of story. So she makes a deal with the Sea Witch where she doesn't lose her voice. She keeps her voice. But she's going to walk on little legs that are going to hurt intensely.
Oh.
And like she's going to bleed out her feet at the end of every day.
Fun.
Lovely fairy tale to tell your children.
I don't think that's worth it.
So she goes, she meets this guy, but he kind of views her as a child. Like she's...
Well, she's like 16 in the movie, so I'm assuming it's the same in the book.
She's great, but he's not really feeling like romantically inclined towards her. And he falls in love with another woman. And they get married. And so the other mermaids, her sisters, they trade their hair for a dagger. And she can...
Smart girl.
She can kill him and turn back into a mermaid. But she's like, I ain't gonna do that. I'm just gonna turn into sea foam and die.
It took like 6 things of hair to get one dagger.
You know, it's just how it goes.
It's an expensive dagger, my friend.
But she's like, I can't kill him. I'm just gonna turn into sea foam and die, as one does.
Yeah.
But
That's
as she
bad breakup.
as she turns into sea foam, she gets lifted up into the sky as wind, because she's now an air spirit, because she got a soul, and once her wind is finished blowing, she will get to ascend to heaven.
Isn't she like supposed to be like the mist coming off the water? The spray that hits you?
And then when her time as wind is done, she will ascend to heaven, because for not murdering this man, she gets a soul.
Might have been worth it.
But yeah, it's definitely different. Like, in the book, it's all definitely focused on attaining a soul, because clearly Hans Christian Andersen had a certain agenda he wanted to push, right? There's
obviously,
lots of religious undertones.
Sure.
Overtones at this point going on there, but in the movie, Disney's like, listen, we're going to make it romance. It needs a villain, so the witch is now a villain. Because all she does is, she literally just does what the people want. You want legs? Here you go. You want a way for your sister to turn back into a mermaid? Here you go.
But she's certainly not helping things.
Yes, but I like her becoming a villain because she gets Poor Unfortunate Soul, and that's one of the best Disney songs
realistically,
ever.
she's just more neutral. You want something, I can help you get it. Is there a cost? Yeah.
Right. There's always a price to pay.
She's very neutral. They turn her into a villain for the Disney stuff because every Disney story has to have a villain.
Absolutely.
Neutral character becomes villain. In fact, she's the one who tries to steal Eric away. In the book, it's just some random woman.
I guess I never read the originals of any of these stories.
Another thing is, like, the mermaids are free to go to the surface anytime they want. It's just that most of them go to the surface, see, like, oh, there's nothing cool here. I don't care.
They can't walk either.
Yeah, and so there's nothing cool for them at the surface, so they just go back down. But she's the one who's obsessed with, like, I've got to get to the surface. I have to be a human and have a soul.
And nobody else wanted a soul?
They got to live 300 years, so, like, that's good enough.
Okay. So does a soul mean then you are mortal?
The soul means...
I think it's the
that
afterlife.
you get an afterlife.
Okay.
So the mermaids, once they dead, they dead.
Yeah.
But they live 300 years, so what else is there to do after that?
Underwater.
All the time.
They live in Atlanta.
We should probably turn gears and talk about what's going on at your local library.
Coming up at the Ellis Branch Library is Baby Bop. This is on Tuesdays from 9:15 to 10 a.m. It's from in January to April. This is for babies up to 18 months old. Join us for Baby Bop, a play group and a story time for our youngest patrons. You can play and socialize with other little ones while enjoying music, bouncing, sensory activities, and board books.
We have Richard Simmons aerobics. I bet I can tell who does this. It is on Thursdays at 9 a.m. starting January 15th. It says, get your heart pumping with our Richard Simmons aerobics class. This is, and you're going to go sweating to the oldies. That's scary because I used to love him.
Yeah.
I used to love him. And I just thought he was hysterical. Whether you're an aerobics aficionado or looking for a fun way to stay fit, this class is perfect for everyone.
The program was given the blessing by Richard Simmons himself before he passed.
Okay, well.
So everyone should come just for that reason.
Bedford Branch Library is pleased to present Sourdough for Beginners, coming Wednesday, January 21st, 2026 at 6 p.m. Are you interested in sourdough baking? Are you a beginner learning as you go, or an experienced baker looking for fresh ideas? Are you tired of me saying, are you? Join us for a hands-on sourdough class with Sarah Macled, owner of Artisan Flour, as she explains starting, feeding, and maintaining a starter and takes us through the bread-making process. Register online.
I'm so bummed. This is on a Wednesday, so I can't go, and I want to go so bad.
Oh, and she's really good. I took the first class, and this is her second class here, because there was such a call for it. And she's really, really good. It was her first time teaching something like that. You would not have known. And she's really personable and funny, and anybody who gets in there is going to enjoy it, for sure.
Coming up at the Ida Branch Library is American Girl doll crafting and games from the 1920s. On Monday, December 29th at 2 p.m., calling all 18-inch doll fans can travel back to the 1920s with games,
Not
snacks.
dolphins.
Doll fans.
Doll fans. Okay.
Did I not say it right?
No.
If you are a fan of a doll, travel back to the 1920s with us. There's games, snacks, and crafts. Why do none of them have a dolphin?
They should.
Yeah.
Everybody should have a dolphin.
I want like an American Girl riding a dolphin now.
Oh, well, you just gave them an idea. Now they're going to make millions.
Do it, American Girl. This is for all ages, so you don't have to be a child just if you love dolls.
Awesome. All right. At the Dundee Branch Library. I love Dundee Branch. They're great over there. So it's a games guild. So gathering one Sunday each month from 2 o'clock to 7 o'clock. January 18th, February 15th, March 15th, April 19th, and May 17th. So, there's some fine print. Ooh. I always like the fine print. Okay, so this is a 16 and over event. So just be aware of that, where adults and older teens can gather, snack, and unleash their competitive spirits over tabletop games. Provide some classic games and new games, as well as snacks to fuel your brain power. If you have a favorite game or snack, bring it along. No experience, no problem. So here's the fine print. Yeah, so no little guild members allowed. It's strictly for 16 and over. So leave the younger ones at home, please.
With some responsible supervision.
Yeah, not just on their own. Don't like shove them in a closet.
Yeah, sure, that's fine.
The Bedford Branch Library is pleased to present Book Swap. This is coming February 9th, 2026 from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Hey, book lovers, let's swap books and make room for new ones. Rules: 20 book max. Books must be in good or better condition, with all pages intact and free from stains, tears, and odors. Written and published within the last 10 years. Leave with as many books as you brought. Buying and selling is prohibited, and this is for adults only with registration required.
I went to the last one. It's really fun.
I heard it's really good. Yeah, so I think that's what I'm going to save a bunch of my books for. But now I got to go through them and see if they're 10 years or younger. I have to do that.
So, what's the definition of good? Because I'm going to be honest, sometimes I like to just eat jelly from the jar, and I occasionally leave fingerprints on the books.
What?
Would that be okay?
No.
Okay.
No. Absolutely not.
Why are you eating it with your hands?
You take the jar and you just pour it on your hand, and then Winnie the Pooh style.
You are not a bear.
He puts his head in the jar. You gonna do that too?
Maybe.
Can I plug 2 programs?
Sure.
Okay.
Sure.
January 17th, I'm going to run a Designing a Butterfly Garden class here at the Bedford Branch Library. It is at 2 o'clock. I think we have registration. No, we don't have registration. I think it's maxed out at like 120 people, but I highly doubt there's going to be 120 people.
Oh, you say that now.
You never know. And then on January 31st is winter sewing event. Did it last year. We had over 50 people show up, which was amazing. We had no idea it was going to be that great. So if you're a gardener and you ever wanted to try winter sewing, come on down that day. These are both Saturdays, by the way, and it's at the Bedford Branch Library.
I did the winter sewing. It was fun.
It's a great way to save money, and it's a great way to share extra plants.
I'm not gonna lie though, mine didn't grow, so I think I killed mine.
I still have a couple of mine in the containers in the yard. I'm not going to lie either. So I look at them and I go, I should have gotten you in the ground. But
I never even sprouted.
why didn't you tell me? I might have been able to help you.
I told you at the time, but I said I was going to keep waiting and like keep watering it, and then I felt bad and I wasn't going to tell you that. I killed it before it grew.
And now she tells you when it's too late to do anything.
Can't save them now. So sad. That's okay, because we can always start over.
Yes.
Yes. So that's my 2 cents for today.
If you happen to be listening on YouTube, please be sure to like and subscribe and hit the ring bell for notifications for every time we post a new video. And down in the comments section below, let us know what is your favorite fairy tale that got adapted, and was that adaptation any good?
If you're listening on Spotify, please like our episode and please like our podcast in general. Don't comment because I don't think you can.
Algorithm. We would certainly like to thank you for listening. And this has been In the Library with
Tara.
Michelle.
and Martin.
No.
Martin's getting fired.